In A Love Founded in Faith, journey alongside Christopher and Marie as they discover the beauty of true intimacy and commitment in a Christ-centered relationship. Both scarred by past heartaches, they find solace and renewed hope in their shared faith in God. As their love blossoms, they navigate the complexities of blending their families and overcoming external doubts. Through tender moments, heartfelt conversations, and unwavering faith, they build a relationship based on mutual respect and pure love. Their journey culminates in a joyous wedding, where they pledge their lives to each other before God and their community. As they embark on married life, Christopher and Marie continue to inspire others with their unwavering faith, love, and dedication to each other.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. I'm so happy that you have tuned in to join us tonight. We have got an amazing returning guest, Miss Millionaire Williams. Welcome.
Hello there, audience. How are you, Stephanie?
I am doing good. We were just chatting here. There's so many things to talk about tonight. We are going to kick off by catching up with Miss Millionaire. I guess I won't ask you who are you because you've already answered that the first time you appeared onto the show. But I do want you to kind of open up. We were just kind of talking off camera. She has got so many amazing things going on. She's got a new book. And she was just telling me about two different programs she's also working with. Let's start with the Mental Health Matters.
Yes.
This is something, as we were just saying off camera, like we have got to do better about this area. We have got to acknowledge it's happening. Kind of tell us the background of your vision and kind of like bring it to us. Just kind of present it to us.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show this evening.
Yeah.
Us two here as I get to speak to your audience, and welcome audience, all of you that are listening. And I actually have so many different layers of genres of resume and bio. I ask people, which one do you want? I mean, I've been a county commissioner, I've been in healthcare, author, publisher.
Yeah.
I have done 50 million things. So in life, I'm just that person. If I think I want to do it, I just step and do it and make it happen, do the research and do what I need to do. But with that being said, in answering to your question specifically about the mental health in the book and the project and how that came about, at the time, I was a county commissioner back in North Carolina and a vice president of a chamber of commerce. and my son joined the military. And at that time, we were not in active war. Move the story along. At that point, he goes to Iraq. He's there for 9 months. He comes back. 6 weeks after getting out of the Marine Corps, he has a full mental breakdown. So that was the genesis of me being catapulted into the arena of mental health. Somebody had asked me, had I ever thought that I'd be operating in this arena? No. Interesting, at the time, I had enrolled back in school to get my degree in entrepreneurism, but when this happened, my son changed my major to psychology and also became a certified life and mental health coach. So I could really understand, and get educated and become aware of everything that I could do as his mother to help him along the route. And he's very open about it. His diagnosis is schizoid affectiveness disorder. So we learned about the disorder. We learned so much. And like I tell people, when you have a loved one that's dealing with, mental health challenges, you first of all need to understand what the disorder is, the medication. And we went through, I think, a minimum of like 17 to 20 different meds at different times along the course of his life. So, after post-war. And so, there's a lot of aspects. And I tell people that are caregivers of those that are suffering and having that challenge, you also have to ensure that you take care of yourself, because the one thing that it's called is secondary trauma in psychology. When you are taking care of a loved one, you are dealing with this yourself. So you have to ensure that you're taking care of your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your physical health, because we are this totally integrated human being that God created us to be. So you have to be mindful of all things going on in your life. And and sometimes you may need to see a therapist or a counselor to help you navigate and understand what all you're dealing with, because it's not the same person. And, I've got a support group for women that are dealing with this and their families. And what's so difficult for so many people, Stephanie, is the fact that you see the same person on the outside, but they're not the same person on the inside. There is a chemical imbalance that's going on. I tell people oftentimes we forget as human beings, because, we get dolled up, put the makeup on, put our clothes on, go and do what we do. But you got to think, the human body, the internal organs, they're made of chemicals. When you break down to its finest minute, we're a bunch of atoms. We're a bunch of protons. That's what's going on in these human bodies on the inside. Yeah. But when we look in mirrors, we don't ever think about the internal aspect of who we are as a human being. So, a lot of people don't want to take the meds, and it's tough all the way around, but you've got to figure it out, because that loved one is suffering until they get the chemical balance. And sometimes you got to go through different meds, but and sometimes that's with any other diseases that we have. Like I told my son, we're not going to deal with a stigma. We're not going to be ashamed. We're going to open up and have dialogue about this. You let me know. If you've got anxiety going on, you let me know. When you hear voices going on, you let me know. I need to know. But I've learned, Stephanie, through the process and dealing with him.
Yeah.
I can hear my son say hello, and I know if he's in a psychotic stage or not.
Right.
So, and then I've written so much in reference to this. Another program we're going to talk about a little bit later, but one of the things that I'm putting together right now is when your loved one is in a psychotic stage. And the second piece to that is when you have to get law enforcement involved. And
Yeah.
how that dialogue should be when you call to the dispatch, okay? Because that's who you're going to get when you first make that call. You're not speaking to a police officer, you're speaking to dispatch, 911 operator. You need to, and I know it's easier to say than, because you're in the midst of all that emotional trauma.
Right.
But if you're making that call, there's a certain script you need to have.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
you got to realize that
Yeah.
that dispatcher is going to transmit the information you gave to the police that are going out on the call.
Right.
They need to be equipped mentally, emotionally, to know what they're dealing with. So hopefully now that you've given them all of that, they can operate in a way of understanding.
Yeah.
So
that you said a lot right there, because
yeah.
So many times when we hear of 911 calls to get assistance for people who are suffering from mental health, it doesn't end the way that it should.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, you have said something that's 1,000 nuggets right there. You have to be careful what you say when you make that call. And that's a scary thought, millionaire, to know that you need some assistance, but you're scared to make the call because it could be the difference between life and death.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, and I tell you, because I live here in Texas and my son is in California. So he last year had a full breakdown. He was off his meds. I must have made 30 phone calls to the police department, wellness checks. I flew out there countless times, to the point that the chief of police called me personally and wanted to meet me. Okay. So you, as the caregiver, the mother, the auntie, the grandmother, the friend, whoever, you can make that kind of impact where they're now calling you. And let me tell you, as a result of that, they knew, y'all better take care of him. She's not the mother that we want to be on national news. That one we don't want. So I made it known. I even when I called there, I want the name of the chief of police. I want the name of the captain on duty. I get all of that, so they know when I call.
Yeah.
I am speaking in a way that I'm going to hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also request, when I would call, I want your officer to call me when they get there. I want them to call me when they leave, because I'm out of state making these wellness checks. Okay.
Right.
I told them he's a veteran, post-war, Iraq, Afghanistan, how old he is. He's a Black male. I said, and what I need to tell you about his personality, he's very intelligent and very manipulative. He will probably tell you, I know my mom had you to come out here and talk to me. And let me tell you what and I said, do not be deceived by his intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what they said to me when they called me after the first time I called. They're like, oh, your son is so intelligent and so polite. I'm like, no. Is that all you got for me? I know you gotta be kidding me. I already gave you the profile, so you would not be wooed by that. Okay.
Yeah, he's already told them, oh, she's worried for nothing. You can leave.
Let me tell you how smart he was, girl. The first call I made, he did tell them. He said, oh, I know, because he was actually standing on, he was sitting outside he's in an apartment building out there in Los Angeles. He's like, they walked up to him, spoke to him. He said, oh, I know my mom called you, but you can just tell my mom everything is fine. I'm hydrated. I'm reading the Bible every day. I'm eating nutrition.
Yeah.
Girl, he gave all the checklists, okay? I'm like, that's just pure manipulation. I tried to tell you.
Yeah.
So if you don't ask the right questions and dig in, you're not going to get the right answers.
Yeah.
So, and then you got to think about,
Yeah.
because he was calm then, but I knew things were not right.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
dealing with bigger fish. So they're right, hurry up and get off it.
Yeah.
He's okay.
They're just in and out, and that's the
Yeah.
sad part.
Yeah.
I salute you, and I've said it before, but I salute you again for your persistence. As moms, we have to wear so many hats, when it comes to just being a mom and, trying to be a mom, a career woman, just so many different things.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
I salute you for your dedication and commitment to, making sure that your son was in a good place, and, just all the effort that you put in. And just the communication, like you said, making sure you were saying the right things and trying to protect him from a distance. I mean, I salute you
yeah.
for that. Mental health matters. I mean, that is point blank. That sums it up right there. Mental health matters.
And
We
the
have got to
full,
get.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry for cutting you off, but the full title of the book, so they can get
Yeah.
the full holistic approach.
Yeah.
Mental Health Matters. Breaking the Silence. Igniting hope and redefining wellness, because that's what we have to do. And Stephanie, if you don't mind, what I would love to do is just read. I wrote the preface in my own book, but I just this one paragraph.
Before you do that, let me have you show that beautiful book.
Oh yeah, yes.
Show that beautiful book, because that is a beautiful book. Look at those stones. I love that book, and the front and the back as well. Let us.
And just to let your audience know, that's Salt from Salt and Pepper, who is the national brand ambassador, and she wrote the foreword on the book, as well as the first chapter in the book. So we're going to be doing some national platforms coming up this year.
And that is
because we are very passionate about carrying this torch.
Yeah.
And the end goal here, we have a 9-step project, scope project. And the end pieces of that is simply to go before Congress to help change some of these laws that are governing mental health. A lot of people don't realize the history of our country dates back with Reagan. There were institutions that you could actually, if you had a family member, you could take them to. Well, Reagan came along, closed them all out. What was supposed to happen? There was supposed to be community-wide service. That never happened. So now you up to date here, 2025, the last several years back, the police don't have somewhere to take them to but the ER.
Yeah.
And that's not the appropriate place, because they've got to send them out.
Yeah. That they consider the ER the triage.
Yes.
And it's not their physical, it's their mental. So it's like, why are you sending them to the ER when they need to be? There needs to be a mental health ER.
Because hospitals are not designed to have patients with mental disorders.
Yeah.
It's just that. So, and then not only that, police haven't been trained
properly. Yeah.
So there's a lot of layers there that we're missing. It's a really complex situation, that this country is facing. And when you've allowed something to not be dealt with for so many years, that's also the increase of the homeless population in so many of the urban areas. And it's I don't even know I have the word for it to describe where we're at, but yes, it is a lot that's happening. The schools that are dealing with the children that are in school. And believe me, if they had a psychiatrist to come in there and diagnose all the kids that are in school, honey, more than 3/4 of the population in schools these children would have disorders because
Yeah.
COVID created a lot of things. And so we're
A lot.
dealing with the back end of it now.
Yeah. The sad thing is, they have counselors in school, but the counselors are more like nurses. They're like, do you feel okay? Okay. And they send the kids right back out into the classroom without really listening or really digging deep to find out what is really going on. Tonight, thank you for tuning in. We are talking to Heir-Williams. One of her quotes is drive health reform for mental health, reduce the stigma, create a millionaire mindset. She is the owner and CEO of Effectual Life Coaching. She is also an author, and now she is going to be telling us about a new program that she has created that partners law enforcement and the youth. And she's going to be kicking off a new program. This will be your second program. Is that correct? You have one in two
Actually,
different
the
locations?
fourth time that it'll
Fourth.
be.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So kind of tell us about that, the Law Enforcement and Youth Summit. Kind of talk to us about that.
Yes, I'm excited about all these kind of platforms going on, and how this came about in my life. It always stems from a space, as with all of us. There's a genesis that the root of that thing. How did it come about?
Yeah.
I was serving as a county commissioner, as we spoke early, back in Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is Onslow County is what it's called. It's a population of about 200,000 constituents, and the Marine Corps base is there, and it's actually the town actually where I lived, and it was actually the largest amphibious base in the world. So that's how big that base is back there, United States Marine Corps, Camp Lejeune, it's called. So that community consisted of a lot of Marines, of course, and had great relations with them. But when I was leaving office, I wanted to leave what I call my legacy footprint. And so I came up with a concept and a program that I put together along with my staff there at the time. And it was called Onslow County Law Enforcement and Youth Summit. And we basically had the sheriff's department, the fire chief, we had all of the entire county, all of the captains. We also got the base involved, NCIS. We've got, oh my God, it was an amazing event. What we took about 4 hours. It was a day that the kids were in school, so we could make sure that they would be there. We didn't want to do it during the summer months because it's like, okay, they're not thinking about
right
during the summer. They just want to chill and play, okay?
Right.
And I don't blame them, but it was great. And one of the things logistically, as I was putting this together, because I wanted to create a safe forum for these kids with law enforcement. And so when the program first started, I did not have all of the key speakers like on a panel. I had them all sit in the audience with the students. We had round tables so that they would so I had each of the police chiefs at a different table. The students came and sat with them, so that they could just kind of sit and talk, kind of have that conversation with them in that friendly approach, and not, they're up on the panel and we're down over here. So that really proved to be a very good logistical movement there at the time, because I had a lot of the students come up to me and say, oh my God, this is the first time I ever met the sheriff, and I got to sit and talk with him myself, and think about it. This is in a fun, loving, safe environment. They're not, up against the wall somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and so to get to meet them, in that kind of environment, where they could be themselves. And at the time, Onslow County, where I was predominantly white population there. And what was very interesting to me was one of the white students actually asked the question about, why is it that minorities are always being stopped by the police? Which
Wow.
was, I'm telling you, it
Mm.
blew me away.
Yeah.
Blew
Yeah.
me away.
Wow.
So, and then they had a situation where one of the school resource officers got caught having sex with one of the female students, and they brought that question up. So they were straight up about it. They were
Yeah.
not playing. I was like,
Yeah.
so basically what they were saying, we want real talk here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We want real talk and we want real answers. And they deserve to have them,
Wow.
because it's reality.
It is reality, and at that age to be so bold,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that is commendable to be so
I
bold.
was
And
impressed with
yeah.
them very much. And they were very articulate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the questions were answered.
Yeah.
They didn't try to like, oh my God, how am I going to answer this question?
Yeah. Yeah.
And law enforcement didn't know what the questions were going to be, because I told them, I said, no, I don't want you coming here pre-staged. No, we're not doing that. I want them to have a real, authentic dialogue with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't want this pre-scripted. No. So we were all surprised, and I didn't even know what the questions were. I didn't want to know until the day of the event.
I think that's amazing. And
yeah, I was very impressed with these students, because they asked the hard questions.
It sounds like they took it serious.
Yes, very much so. So it was a very positive experience for law enforcement as well.
Yeah.
And my husband and I moved to California from North Carolina, and I teamed up with the Chamber of Commerce, the LA Sheriff's Department, police chief there. And at this time, because this is after COVID, so, the first response, so I changed the name to Heir-Williams First Responders and Youth Summit, because we brought in, physicians, we brought in nurses, and we actually really took the program to a whole nother level, because the first one I did, it was inside. This one we did outside because it was after COVID, but it proved really great as well, because what we added to the program, we had a Bearcat there from the Sheriff's Department, fire truck, we had ambulance. So we had all of that there. They took pictures in the Bearcat. I even have some pictures in the Bearcat. So it was a great experience for them. We also had resource vendors. So there were tables out there. So if they wanted to be a part of law enforcement, I'm graduating at 18. I want to be a police officer. What do I need to do? What's required of me? I want to work for the LA Sheriff's Department. What do I need to do? So we had all those tables out there. And then also I told the committee that I worked with at the time with the chamber, I said, the other thing I want for these students, because they're dealing with a lot of peer pressure, they're dealing with a lot of things that we as adults sometimes forget that we were their age. Okay. It's a different culture now, and they're dealing with a lot more hardship than what we had coming up.
Oh, yeah.
It's very different. And I wanted to, have booths out there, and we did. Bullying. We had teen pregnancy. We had drugs, so we had nonprofits in the community to come out, talk about those different things. And, the kids were able to walk around, freely. So if they were drawn to that, they could go have that discussion. And we had a panel interview there as well. And also what we did, after the panel interview, we had them each to have a table with the kids so that they could have that one-on-one questioning that, they had. And this time we also had demonstrations. So we were like, when you get pulled over, what you do and what not to do.
Right. Right.
So, and we've each time I host this program, I always like to add something to improve the process. And
Yeah.
the other thing that we did too, which was awesome, because like I said, the first time we did it, it was like a 4-hour program. The
Okay.
kids were involved that day. They just had questions, that they came with. But
Right.
I wanted to take it a little further and say, okay, what can I do to really get the momentum started before the day of the event? So what we did differently as well, which I love this idea. Um, Kaiser Hospital actually donated like $7,000 to the program. And so what we did, we gave away 3 $1,000 scholarships to the kids.
Oh,
And
wow.
the requirements for that was a 1,500-word essay they had to submit. And we asked them about 4 to 5 questions that they had to incorporate in that essay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that we did. And we also had a contest, $500, where if they were graphic art students, that they could design a flyer for the event. And we chose the flyer that we used. So this way we got them involved, the momentum building it up,
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
what I thought about that we didn't do there, that we're going to do here in Texas, and that is to also have plaques for them. Because I thought about it, the kids, you give them this money, they spend it, and it's gone. But a plaque is something they can put on their wall. They can have a conversation with other friends when they come. Oh, I was involved with this law enforcement program, first responders, and I won the essay contest. But this is something to remember. And even if they go off to college, that's something they may be proud and want to put it on their wall,
Yeah. Well, listen, you are doing a lot of amazing things. The book, the youth summit, just staying on top and making mental health aware, period. You're doing a lot of really good things out in the community. Where can people contact you? What are your contact information?
Yes, I am. And I tell people, you Google me, I'm all over the roadmap, but that's one way to get me. I'm on Facebook, and also, as we talked prior to the show, one of the things that I've made it my goal is to really raise the bar with mental health awareness. So what that looks like for me, each week I'm going on talking about different mental disorders and what the symptoms are. So, because like I shared as well, oftentimes, mental illness goes undiagnosed because it's not like hypertension. You can go to the doctor, they take your vitals. If your pressure is up and it stays up, so many times you keep going back to the doctor, or maybe you're the type, you're having symptoms, headache, different things that go along with hypertension. So they can tell, okay, you have hypertension. But with mental health, there's no labs they can do. They have to ask a number of questions, and to say, out of, say, 10 questions, if you have 7 or 8 of these symptoms, we may point you to a certain disorder. So I'm coming on to have these open discussions and share with people. I just talked about seasonal affectiveness disorder, and some people have never heard of it, and the acronym is SAD. And basically, at different times of the year, mainly in the winter, because it's seasonal for the most part. And, it happens as a lot of times we don't realize how much in tune we are to the external forces of the universe. Okay. But, when the seasons change, and, when you're sitting there and 6 o'clock in the evening, it's pitch black outside. You're looking like, oh my God, it's so dark outside. Is it like 9 or 10 o'clock at night? And your body is shifting and you don't know it. And there's, a lot of other symptoms that go along with it. But
it literally changes your mood. Yeah,
it does. It really does. And it's real, So I'm just coming along to just have those kind of conversations with people that, if these are some of the things you have going on, it's okay to contact a professional. It's
Definitely.
okay to schedule an appointment with a therapist.
Yeah.
And if it's nothing more than to rule out,
That's right. That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Oh,
But
yeah.
don't play with your mental health and not check on yourself and not be about your mental health. You know what I mean? We spend
Yeah.
so much money on clothing, nails, hair, makeup, all these outer extremity
Yeah.
items that we will purchase, a nice car, home, whatever. But what are you doing for your mental health?
Yeah. That we need to start with the top at the top. Our
Yeah.
mental health, our thinking, our mind is very important. As
Yeah.
we get ready to come to a close tonight, I want to ask you, what is the takeaway that you would like for listeners to remember tonight?
Again, it's my priority that your mental health really matters, and don't play with it. It's not to be played with. Um, and and I've got to go here with us as a people, as Black people. We have so much stress, environmental stresses, systematic stresses. You owe it to yourself to go
Amen.
get checked. You owe
Yeah.
it. And it's that thing of, I got to be strong. I got to be strong. Cut the nonsense out. Just stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're dying on the inside
Mm.
and you don't know it.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yet you can do something about that. You
Yeah.
can have a stroke because you have so much stress. I had a cousin of mine back in New York. The doctor kept telling him he has hypertension and he needs to be on meds. He wouldn't take the meds. The doctor said,
Mm.
okay, you're not going to take the meds. It's going to be a date and an hour that you will have a stroke.
Mm.
Guess what happened?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It is time out for us as a people
Yeah.
to not take care of self.
Yeah. Yeah. We
And
got to
then we as women, as mothers,
Yeah.
caregivers, caretakers, care nurturers, taking care of the whole world
Yeah.
and other parts of the universe,
Yeah. But not ourselves.
you had better check on your mental health.
That's right.
And, I was telling some people, I'm going to stop asking people, how are you doing? That's just a comment. Oh, girl, how are you doing? No. How is your mental health?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love
Because
it.
it stops you to make you think for a moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you matter and your mental health matters.
Yes, ma'am.
Because if
And
your mind is not right, everything is off.
nothing is, yeah. If your
Everything
mind's
is
not
off.
right, yeah, everything.
Everything is off balance, off center. You can't even eat right if your mental health is not right.
No, you can't. Everything would be messed up.
And get rid of the stigma. That is what I want to break more than anything, because that will prevent people from making that call and, oh, she crazy. Well, you know what? If I'm crazy, I'm gonna go on and get some help so I can get uncrazy.
That's right. That's right.
So we got to stop that, people. We
Yeah.
have got to take care of ourselves. Everybody will talk about generational wealth. What about generational health?
Yeah. We definitely can't let the opinions of others stop
Our
us from getting the help that we need. Yeah.
our priorities are way out. Can I give just this one right here?
Yeah.
And this is the preface of the book that I wrote. In
Okay.
the vast landscape of mental health, a nexus of experiences often remains hidden in the shadows, silently shaping lives, relationships, and communities.
Mhm.
Among those most deeply impacted are women and families whose narratives are usually complex tapestries woven with threads of resilience, struggle, and the enduring pursuit of healing.
Mm. That's beautiful. This is real. I think a major take from tonight, like you said, mental health matters. We've got to start checking on ourselves. We're checking on everybody else, but we've got to start checking on ourselves, and we've got to start saluting people who get help versus
Yes.
tearing them down.
Amen.
We need to start saluting people for actually getting help, instead of tearing them down. So
Yes.
remember tonight, mental health matters. Thank you so much, Miss Millionaire Williams, for joining us
Amen.
tonight. This
Blessings
has
to
been
you, my sister, and
another
everybody
amazing,
listening.
thank you. Another amazing episode of the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. Make sure you like, tag, and share this video tonight. Somebody else needs to hear this. This message needs to be shared with multiple people. Make sure you go out and support her on her platforms. Get her book, Mental Health Matters. And what's the name? What's the rest of the title? Give the full name of the title
Sure.
again.
Mental Health Matters, Breaking the Silence, Igniting Hope, and Redefining Wellness.
Yes. Thank you so much. You have a great night.
You likewise. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
Blessings to all of you.
Blessings. Good night.
If you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.